What's going on, guys? My name is AK, and as always I'm your intrepid host for this video. In this video I just wanted to go over some tips and tricks for those would-be snipers out there that want to get good with the AX50. I know there are a couple of other sniper rifles you can use. A lot of people swear by the HDR. It's not for me, thank you. The ADS time is proven to be a lot slower than the AX50. If you're really into the whole run and gun sniper thing, you should probably use the Kar 98 because, again, it's got one of the fastest ADS speeds, apart from possibly the Mark II, but I wouldn't really class the Mark II as a proper bolt-action sniper rifle. So anyway, what I decided to do was to hop into a private match and to test different loadouts of the sniper rifle with different attachments, etc., to see whether or not what I was experiencing in game, when I used the variable zoom, for instance, in the 17-inch barrel, to see whether or not it actually does decrease the ADS time or increase it, or if it's doing something else behind the scenes that you can't really equate to numbers or even a visual, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, what if the variable zoom is adding an extra caveat to the quickscoping, so that maybe because it's a shorter zoom it means that I can quickscope a bit faster, even though the ADS time itself is slower. So in the footage you're about to watch, I'm going to be scoping in with the AX50 with a variable zoom and a 17-inch barrel and all ADS improving attachments apart from the laser. And that's going to be slowed down quite considerably. And then it's going to be the AX50 without the variable zoom, and again the same attachments, just for comparison. Now I will say that I use the variable zoom on the AX50 probably the most, because I feel like because it has a lower zoom scope, it feels like it zooms in faster, although I'm not entirely sure if that is the case. So we're just going to compare the two directly, one after another, at the slower speed to see if that is actually the case. Now, as you can see, it's zooming in now. This is the variable zoom scope. And then when we watch the next one, it appears, honestly, as though that the standard scope actually zooms in a little slower. So I'm not entirely sure. The next selection of footage you're going to be seeing is me quickscoping and jumping around like crazy. Now, I'm just going to point out that you don't obviously have to play like me. Everyone plays with a sniper differently. Some people like to sort of hunker down in an area and hold it. Some people like to run around and shoot people, get those quick scopes, those clips, etc. Myself personally, I'm a sort of mixture of the both. I tend, when I play sniper, to hold an area. I don't really like camping in one spot particularly. I don't really enjoy that, sitting in a window watching a corner. That's not the way I like to play. The way I like to play is hold down an area, so like for instance Gunrunner, if you're ever unfortunate enough to be on the enemy team against me on Gunrunner, you will not be able to progress through the woods because that's where I will be 90% of the time. It has some of the longest sight lines, and if you're going towards the containers, up the hill through the woods, that's probably one of the best positions to be as a sniper. You can really hunker down and hold the area. All of the lines of sight are very clear and open, and all of the peaks that the enemy team have to do to you expose themselves more than you technically expose yourself to them. Now, as I said, I will try to explain why I'm jumping around like crazy now. The reason for this is A, it makes you more difficult to hit, especially in a sniper versus sniper fight, because remember, it's the first shot that matters. If you can get that on target, you're pretty much golden. The way I do it is I sort of jump to the left. Okay, so with my stick, I'm sort of pushing it in a diagonal, not up or right, just diagonally. And then as I am jumping, I press the sprint button just slightly beforehand and sort of wiggle my right stick. I know that sounds a bit weird. If you have ever air strafed on Counter-Strike, for instance, it sort of feels the same way. Like if you were to do it with keyboard and mouse, it would be sort of, you'd press W and then D, and at the same time jump and sprint, and then wiggle your camera, or wiggle your mouse, sorry. And in doing that, what I find it sort of does is it gives you the opportunistic moment to sort of hit your target. You're extremely difficult to see, especially on this game where the lines of sight are a bit skewed for peeking. Jumping around a corner is always a proven sort of strategy rather than, for instance, slowly peeking while crouched. You expose more of yourself, even though when you jump you expose a lot of yourself. You're not exposing yourself for very long because you're in and out, if that makes sense. And as a sniper, when you're trying to get that first shot on target, that's probably the best. Now, if you want to get better at doing this, then I would suggest you play on this map and pretty much do what I'm doing now, which is to just try and get as many shots on target as possible. I'm not claiming to be the best sniper in the world. There are people on my friends list who are amazing at sniping. Rain and Saeed are just to name a few, but this is a really good thing for you to do if you want to get better at quick scoping and better at, you know, sort of peeking and jumping. Now, the thing I'll say about this is I did notice that the barrel increased the stability while aiming, which happens when you add larger barrels to most guns anyway, so you'll notice that more. However, I will say that using the variable zoom really hampered my ability to aim quickly, whereas in a minute, when I've run out of these 5 bullets, I'll switch to an AX50, for instance, with a 32-inch barrel and the normal scope, and when I was doing that, I found that the scope itself seemed to act better, like it seemed to increase my ADS speed, so I was a lot more agile and a lot more able to shoot people. And in fact, one of my friends, Rain, Psycho Rain, he uses this sort of setup on his AX50 all the time. He has a 32-inch barrel and the normal scope. I believe he also might use a tac laser as well, though I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But he also runs with 7-round mags, so he's got more shots at his disposal. But what I found while doing this is it was incredibly fast compared to the variable zoom, like shockingly fast. And when I compare it in, like when I've looked through the footage and I've actually compared it to the variable zoom with a 17-inch barrel, I'd say that they're both on par with each other in terms of ADS speed. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, please drop a like. If you didn't, a dislike. If you're new and like the content, hit that subscribe button and tickle your bell. I'll be trying to do more of these sort of episodes where I go in-depth with sniping, because I've seen a lot of the in-depth sniping guides on YouTube and they're not really that in-depth. They don't really talk about the caveats, the sort of things that you have to do, the things you've got to look out for. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to try and go in-depth on a bit. So anyway, thanks for watching. Oh, you're still here. Well, that's great. Well, I'm going to pop off, make myself a cup of tea, have a couple of cheeky biscuits. Don't know what yet. Anyway, feel free to click on whatever video takes your fancy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.